two incidents that have shaped the modern narrative on Sita. But one of those incidents is grossly misunderstood, and the other simply didn't happen.
You are a jackal, and I am a lioness. You cannot have me. I am like the sun's radiance that you cannot even touch. The difference between Ram and you is the difference between the ocean and a creek.
Valmiki's Sita is an icon of courage, resilience, and love. And she shows what it means to have the strength of character. We will see that a grave injustice is done to Sita, but not by Ram or by the people of Ayodhya. The injustice is done by us. Iti, her, asa. That is how it happened. Namaskar. Welcome to this video on Sita, Vaidehi Janaki. There is this shlok about Sita in the Valmiki Ramayan. Rajyam va trishu lokeshu, Sita va janakatmaja, Trailokya rajyam sakalam, Sitaya napnuyat kalam. If sovereignty, lordship over the three worlds were on one side of the scale, and Sita on the other side, the scale would surely tip on Sita's side. Now, what is it about Sita that made her so great? In popular culture, she is often shown as a weepy, helpless woman. On the other hand, some see her as a strong woman who stood up to injustice. And in some retellings, she is even imagined as a warrior. But who was Sita really? Now, there are many versions of the Ramayana, but if the question is what really happened, then the reference text, the Praman, is the Valmiki Ramayan. Maharshi Valmiki wrote the original Ramayana at the same time as Sri Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman and Sita lived. The Valmiki Ramayan is Itihas. Iti, her, asa, means that is how it happened. So, to discover the real Sita, I will take you through some incidents in Sita's life as described by Maharshi Valmiki. His words paint a picture of Sita's character that is very different from how it is usually shown, and hugely more inspiring. We will see that a grave injustice is done to Sita, but not by Ram or by the people of Ayodhya. The injustice is done by us when we see her as either a victim or as someone who demonstrates so-called feminine virtues. She was far greater than that. So let us find out what really happened. Towards the end of the first book of the Ramayana, the Balakand, Maharshi Valmiki describes the marriage of Sri Ram and Sita. He also tells us about the growing love and affection between the two of them as they settle down to married life in Ayodhya. But in all these incidents, we don't get to know much of Sita as a person. The first incident that really brings out Sita's character is what happened on the day Ram was supposed to get coronated. We are in the early parts of the second book of the Ramayana, the Ayodhya-kand. All the preparations for the coronation had been completed. Ayodhya was decked up. The dignitaries had arrived and crowds were gathering on the Rajmarg. No one knew what had happened the previous night between Kaikeyi and Dashrath. Kaikeyi had reminded Dashrath of the two boons, promises he had given her a long time back. And now, on the back of those two boons, she had made her terrible demands. Her first ask was that her own son Bharat should be made the Yuvraj successor and not Ram. And the second ask was that Ram should be sent off into exile in the forest for 14 years. Essentially, Dashrath had given Kaikeyi 2 blank checks, and now she had come back with the amounts filled up. There was no getting out of this. Unaware of all this, Ram and Sita had got ready for the coronation. But then Sumantra came and told Ram that Dashrath was with Kaikeyi and wished to see him. Sita saw Ram off at the door. He was gone for some time. Let us watch now what happens when he returns.
The terrible news of Ram's Vanvas had not yet reached Sita. For her, this was still a most joyful occasion, the day of Ram's coronation. She was eagerly waiting for him to come back after meeting Dashrath and Kaikeyi. When Ram got back, excited well-wishers still thronged his palace. He went past them with his head bent down a little. Kinchidavang mukhah. One look, and Sita realized something was amiss. She started trembling upon seeing Ram distressed and anxious. Remember, Valmiki had said at the end of Balakand that Ram and Sita were so close that they could read each other's minds even when things were left unsaid. And upon seeing Sita, Ram too could not hold back his sorrow anymore. Sorrow and anxiety not for what had happened to him, of course, but at what this meant for Sita. Sita saw that his face had turned pale and he was sweating. Vivarnavadanam prasvinnam. She asked, "What happened? Everything is ready for your coronation. Why are you like this?" And then Ram told her about Kaikeyi's demands to make Bharat the Yuvraj and to banish him, Ram, into the forest. He further told her that she ought to take care of Dashrath and Kausalya and also Sumitra and Kaikeyi. He clarified that he felt no bitterness towards Kaikeyi and still thought of her as his mother. He also counseled Sita on how to deal practically with the fact that his younger brother, Bharat, would now be the king.
I wonder how Sita felt about all this.
You don't need to wonder, because here is a woman who does not hold back her words. Sita looked at Ram in an affectionately cross way. Pranayadeva Sankruddha, and said, "What are these words that you are throwing around? I feel like laughing. They are not worthy of being spoken by you and not worth listening to either." Quite a response. Consider this. When Dashrath had heard the pronouncement, he had gone into shock. Kausalya had wailed in sorrow and Lakshman had raged. Only Ram had taken it with perfect equanimity. Now, just like him, Sita too was entirely unmoved by the news itself. For Sita was Dharmadnya and Dharmacharini. She knew Dharma and always followed it. So she said nothing about whether Ram should abide by the king's promise or not. She said not a word against her mother-in-law, Kaikeyi, who had just destroyed her life. She did not beat her chest and cry, "Why me?" Her approach was the same as Ram's. Uphold Dharma and hold no bitterness in your heart. But she had one strong objection to what Ram had said, and this was the reason for calling his words laughable. She reminded him that a husband and wife are meant to share everything. It is the husband alone that is always there for a woman, not her father, mother, or son. And a wife alone shares the destiny of her husband. O Ram, the best among men, I am also therefore required to live in the forest. Sita argued that what Kaikeyi asked of Ram automatically applied to her as well. Effectively, Sita was objecting to Ram considering her as being separate from him. And Anushishtasmi matra cha pitra cha vividhashrayam nasmi samprati vaktavya vartitavyam yathamaya. I have been taught well enough by my mother and my father about my duties in different life situations, about what I ought and ought not to do. Now there is no need to lecture me about any of this. Sita loved Ram and was totally devoted to him. Sita told him that she was least interested in the comforts of royal life and knew the difficulties of forest life. Further, they were to live as ascetics, and so she would be Niyata Brahmacharini. She would not be a burden on him during the Vanvas and would try and help in whatever manner she could. All she wanted was to be with him. But Ram urged her to drop the idea. Sita's eyes were beginning to tear up as Ram said, Hitabuddhya khaluvacho mayaitadabhidhiyate. I am saying this for your own good. The forest is full of terrible hardships. Food and water are hard to find. There are deadly snakes, dangerous insects, and wild beasts. It is a thorny path. Valmiki has devoted an entire sarga to explain these difficulties of forest life. But Sita countered, whatever the difficulties may be, I will gladly accept them, only to be with you. Yas tvaya sah saswargo nirayo yas tvaya vina. For me, heaven is where we are together, and hell being without you. The tears were flowing in a torrent now. Arguing, urging, and entreating, she finally hugged Ram tightly and cried inconsolably. Patim brishamalingya chukrosha saswaram. Ram was finally convinced. He said, I did not know how you felt about it and was therefore reluctant to impose the hardship of Vanvas on you. Oh, my beloved Sita, your decision is correct. Valmiki's narration of this electrifying conversation makes this much crystal clear. Ram and Sita were totally committed to upholding dharma and totally committed to each other. For Sita and Ram, Siya Ram, their relationship was not merely a hyphenation of their names, but a hyphenation of their destiny. Iti, her, asa. That is how it happened.
What an incredible act by Sita. Many times, we know the broad story of the Ramayana. We know that Lakshman and Sita went with Ram into exile. So we may miss how extraordinary this was. Sita was not required to go into exile. That was not Kaikeyi's demand. But she willingly signed up for 14 years of terrible hardships. She recognized that Ram must uphold the king's promise. That was the right thing to do for him. And she would support Ram in every situation. That was the right thing to do for her. Sita and Ram, Siya Ram, were one. Whatever was asked of Ram automatically applied to her. This incident brings out Sita's keen understanding of dharma, the right thing to do. She chose the right path even when the cost was so high. And she did it without any anger, without any irritation. Sita shows what it means to love someone, to be a life partner, always being there for each other, always supporting each other, come what may. Now, we just saw how Sita had bravely said, heaven is where we are together and hell being without you. But the reality was, Sita was totally unprepared for life in the forest. Soon after this conversation between Ram and Sita, the two, together with Lakshman, went to Dashrath's court to seek his blessings. There Ram announced that he would change into chirvastras, the rough, unstitched cloth worn by ascetics. Kaikeyi quickly brought in some chirvastras, gave them to Ram and Lakshman, and then to Sita too. Sita was surprised. She looked at it and asked Ram, Katham nu chiram badnanti munayo vanavasina? How do the ascetics wear this? An innocent question, but it really brings out that Sita was totally unprepared for the challenges of the forest. She had known only palace life, first in Mithila and now in Ayodhya. And so, no surprise, reality hit her hard on the very first day of their exile. Valmiki tells us this about Sita's emotional state. She was stunned and lost. Vishtita vismrita sthita. She was in shock. She cried bitterly. But then, the strong woman that she was, she overcame that quickly. She recovered quickly. And then, the strong wind, the blazing sun, nothing bothered her. She was curiously asking about all the villages, towns, rivers, and forests that they passed by. At times, she was like a bubbly young girl, Bala iva Ramate Sita. And soon, she was full of determination and confidence. As they crossed the Ganga, Sita said, Ram, Lakshman and I will be back here after completing our 14 years in the forest. My mighty and righteous husband will gloriously return to Ayodhya. In the Ramayana, we will see this again and again. At times, Sita feels overwhelmed. She gets consumed by emotion, sorrow, even helplessness, but she always overcomes it. In exile, Ram, Lakshman and Sita visited various rishis at their ashrams in the forest. They also built their own hermitage, first at Chitrakoot and later at Panchavati. Many times we think that Sita's life was just a series of tragedies. However, that is not how Maharshi Valmiki has described it. Let's see now a short clip about their life in Chitrakoot.
The three had settled down well. No doubt, life in the wild was difficult. Besides, they had to follow the rules of ascetic life. But although they did not have material comforts, they joyously filled their heart with the natural beauty, peace, and sanctity that surrounded them. One day, Ram said to Sita, "Na rajya bhranshanam bhadre, na suhridbhi vina bhavah, mano me badhate drishtva ramaniyam imam girim." When I see this lovely mountain, I am not troubled by the thoughts of being exiled from the kingdom and being away from friends and family. Just look at these peaks, adorned with minerals and as though piercing the sky. Look at those flocks of birds and those flowering and fruit-laden trees of all kinds. Ram also spoke about the rishis that lived in the area and how earlier kings had gained from retiring into the forest in their later years. Their cottage had the mountain on one side and the Mandakini river on the other. Sita, behold this river, the crystal clear waters, these beautiful flowers floating on top, those lotuses, and the sandbanks with geese and swans. What are we waiting for? Come along! Vigahasva mayasaha. Dive in with me. All in all, Ram had not only reconciled to the Vanvas, he also recognized that there was something totally different to be learned through this experience. He told Sita, "For me, seeing Chitrakoot and Mandakini and being with you is more delightful than living in Ayodhya." And he also asked her, "Vaidehi ramase kachchit Chitrakoot mayasah." My dear Sita, are you happy here with me in Chitrakoot? This description by Valmiki tells us a lot about Chitrakoot, about Ram and Sita's relationship. Note how Ram is truly engaged with life, enjoying the beauty of Chitrakoot and sharing that joy with Sita. A great lesson for us in how to move on and to not endlessly torment ourselves with what might have been.
By the way, what you just saw is a part of the 21 Notes Valmiki Ramayan video series. Do watch this entire 100-episode series over 7 seasons. During these days in exile, there was also time for playful fun. Sometimes Sita would hide in the forest, forcing a worried Ram to go out searching for her. Valmiki has given us a glimpse into their lives by describing incidents such as this one. Once, Sita was alone and a crow attacked her. She was trying to shoo it away, but it kept coming back to strike her again and again on her chest. In all this, her dress became loose. Now, while trying to fend off the crow, Sita was also holding on to her dress and trying to tie it back tighter. Just then, Ram returned. Amused at the situation, he burst out laughing. Sita was embarrassed. She was also angry at the crow and at Ram. But she ran up to him and hugged him. Ram held her close and consoled her, but he also could not stop laughing. Of course, they had their bad days too. And Valmiki tells us when Ram felt low, Sita would cheer him up with her sweet words. Again and again, we see Ram and Sita's exemplary support for each other. But supporting someone does not mean you must agree with everything they say. And Sita was not shy of speaking her mind when she disagreed on some matters. Earlier in Ayodhya as well, Sita had insisted that she too will come for the Vanvas, even though Ram was opposed to the idea. And now in exile, Sita voiced a concern that was playing on her mind. Perhaps Ram was making a mistake. The rishis of Dandakaranya had asked Ram to protect them from Rakshas attacks, and Ram had agreed. Now Sita said to Ram, "You have promised all the ascetics that you will rid them of the tyranny of the Rakshasas. But I am not sure you should do that right now. We are here as ascetics and should live like them. You can discharge your duty to protect the ascetics once we are back in Ayodhya. There is a reason why the ascetics do not carry arms. When a man holds a weapon, it affects his mind. There's a natural tendency to use it, even if it is not required." Valmiki has given us the details of the arguments given by Ram and Sita. The question was how to balance their duty to protect the ascetics, their Kshatriya dharma, with the rules of forest life, their Desha dharma. This conversation is just one example of Sita's keen intelligence and thoughtfulness. Time went by. 13 years of exile were over. Only one remained. Ram, Lakshman and Sita were staying at Panchavati, near modern-day Nashik. Just a few days earlier, Ram had destroyed the entire Rakshas force in that area when they had attacked him. Ravan's brother and the leader of the Rakshasas in that area, Khar, was dead. And Ravan wanted revenge. For this, he roped in Marich. Marich, in the form of a deer, lured Ram into a chase away from the cottage. And then Sita heard a scream. She became hysterical with worry. She thought Ram was in danger. And then she said some very harsh words to Lakshman, which forced him to go out in search of Ram. By the way, when Lakshman left, he did not draw any protective line or rekha around the cottage. The idea of a Lakshman rekha was added in later retellings. There is no mention of this in the Valmiki Ramayan. Let's watch now in detail the incident of Sita's abduction.
Marich had drawn Ram and Lakshman away from the cottage. Sita was alone. Ravan then made the next move of his devious plot. He approached the cottage in the guise of a wandering monk. He saw Sita and checked her out from head to toe. He felt an intense attraction. Drishtva kamasharaviddha. He asked her, "Who are you? Where are you from? You are so young and beautiful. How come someone like you needs to live in this desolate forest?" Ravan showered compliments on Sita about her beauty. Sita ignored the comments and cordially welcomed him in a manner suitable for a guest monk. "Please come and take a seat. May I offer you some fruits for refreshment?" As Ravan sat down to eat, he mentally reaffirmed his resolve to abduct her. Prasahya tasyaharane dhritam manah. Sita looked out and so wished that Ram and Lakshman would come back. But all she saw was the vast stretch of the green forest. Haritan dadarsha tan mahadvanam. After a few silent moments, Sita thought it was best to answer the guest's questions. She introduced herself and told him about Ram and Lakshman. She explained why the three of them were living in Dandakaranya. "And now please tell me about yourself," she said. "Your name and lineage, and why you are roaming all alone in this forest." Ravan replied sharply, "My name is Ravan, the very word that strikes fear in the hearts of one and all. I am the king of the Rakshasas. O Sita, come with me and be my queen. You will live in great luxury and comfort in my fabulous capital city of Lanka. There are many women that I have captured from different lands. You will be the queen among all of them." An enraged Sita fired back at Ravan. "I am the devoted and loyal wife of Ram, who is the greatest among men. You are a jackal and I am a lioness. You cannot have me. I am like the sun's radiance that you cannot even touch. You want to abduct the beloved wife of Ram? Oh, poor you! You are seeking to pull the teeth out of a hungry, powerful lion. You are trying to swim across the sea with a heavy stone around your neck. So, you wish to violate Ram's wife? You are rubbing your eyes with a needle, licking a razor with your tongue. You are drinking the deadliest of poisons. Yadantaram syandika samudrayoh tadantaram dasharathes The difference between Ram and you is the difference between the ocean and a creek. The difference between Ram and you is the difference between gold and lead, between sandal-infused water and ditch water." Having thus told him off, Sita stood trembling. Ravan knitted his eyebrows and frowned. Lalate prukutim kritva. He tried to cow her down by telling her about his prowess and how everyone was terrified of him. He told her how lucky she was that the great king of the Rakshasas himself had fallen for her. She ought not to refuse him and let go of such an excellent chance. He tried to win her over by telling her again about the wonderful life she could have in Lanka. And he promised, "My dear, I will never do anything against your wishes. Abandon Ram and come with me." When Sita refused again, Ravan announced, "You are crazy. I am the only one suitable to be your husband. You fool, I simply cannot understand what you see in Ram." Ravan was an entitled, powerful man, used to having his way every time. A woman had refused his advances. So, of course, it was now time to use brute force. He dropped his guise of being an ascetic and Vamena Sitam Padmakshim मूर्धजेषु करेण सह urvostu dakshinenaiva parijagraha panina. He seized her by the hair with his left hand and lifted her legs off the ground with his right hand. Sita started screaming and tried desperately to free herself from his grip. But Ravan was simply too strong for her. He carried her off towards his rath. Jatayu was nearby and heard Sita's cries. When he realized what was going on, he tried to tell Ravan that what he was doing was wrong in every way. But of course, the advice fell on deaf ears. Jatayu then said, "You are young and I am old. You are well armed. I am not. Even then, I will not allow you to abduct Sita as long as I am alive. Ravan, fight with me." Jatayu's decision to fight Ravan is remarkable. He had almost no chance of winning, but he just could not stand by while Ravan assaulted Sita. And what a fight he put up! But soon he got exhausted. Ravan saw the weak moment and punched and kicked him. And then he cut off all his limbs with a sword. Sita rushed to the grievously injured Jatayu. Ravan pulled her away. Sita hugged the tree tightly in desperation. Ravan grabbed her again by the hair, dragged her back to the rath, and flew away towards Lanka. The forest echoed with Sita's desperate cries. "Ram! Lakshman! Save me! Trahi!" Iti her asa. That is how it happened.
Sita had been kidnapped. In the flash of a moment, her life had taken a terrible turn. But watch now how she faces this with courage and with some quick thinking.
Ravan had abducted Sita and taken off towards Lanka. Sita wept bitterly. She looked down to the ground. Avekshamanam dharanitalam, and kept calling for Ram and Lakshman in a soft voice. Her hair was disheveled, and the auspicious vermilion mark on her forehead had been erased. Her face had become pale and her eyes red. Valmiki poetically says that all the creatures of the forest cried out, "If Sita can be abducted like this, there is no dharma or satya in this world. Nasti dharmah kutas satyam." Lions, tigers, and other animals ran in anguish, chasing Sita's shadow. The birds cried out. The treetops swayed. They seemed to be saying to Sita, "Ma bhai, don't be scared." Sita gathered her strength and told off her captor in the strongest of words. "You shameless coward! Dikte shauryam! You tricked my husband away and carried me off like a thief. And then you killed old Jatayu when he tried to help me." And with biting sarcasm, Sita says, "Paramang khalute viryam drishyate." Your great courage was on full display. But why are you running off now? If you are so brave, wait for a bit. Muhurtamapi tishthatvam. Let Ram and Lakshman see you. When they fire their arrows at you, you will get burnt like a bird in a forest fire. Anyway, your effort to abduct me is pointless. I cannot live without Ram. Let me go if you know what is good for you. Otherwise, Ram will surely find you and kill you. I can see the noose of death around your neck." Sita then thought about how she could leave behind some clues for Ram to find her. A few moments earlier, her anklet had slipped and fallen into the forest below. Now, she quietly took off some of her jewelry and wrapped it in a piece of cloth. She then dropped the bundle near some Vanaras that were sitting on a hilltop. The surprised Vanaras looked up at her. Ravan did not notice any of this. He flew the Rath across the land like an arrow shot off from a bow. They went past the Pampa lake, over many forests and rivers, across the ocean, and then shortly they reached the grand city of Lanka. Ravan took Sita to his palace, locked her up in the inner chambers, and told the women guarding her, "Let no one enter without my permission. Give her whatever clothes and jewelry she wishes for. If anyone utters a single unpleasant word to her, knowingly or unknowingly, I will take it that they do not want to live." He then came out and spoke to 8 of his trusted Rakshasas. "Go to Janasthan and find out what Ram is up to. Keep reporting back to me. Be alert and watch out for any chance to strike him. He killed Khar and destroyed my forces there. Niryataitum ichchami. I want revenge. I will not rest until I have killed him." Ravan was pleased with himself for how his plan had worked out so far. Remember, he had abducted Sita for 2 reasons: to avenge Khar's defeat and to get the most beautiful woman in the world as his wife. Now, regarding this second objective, he thought of Sita, and a deep desire arose in him. He hastened back to see her. Ravan then forcibly took Sita around to show her his spectacular palace. The palace was a large complex of mansions, with pillars studded with gold, silver, and diamonds, and floors embedded with beautiful crystals. The windows were made of silver and ivory and had golden trellis. The courtyards had delightful stepwells. The palace echoed with music. There were thousands of women attendants. Ravan took Sita up a golden staircase, and proudly showing the vast expanse of his palace, he said, "Sita, I am the lord of the Rakshasas. I have many wives, but I cannot stop thinking of you. Oh lovely Sita, be my queen. Why do you pine for Ram? He has lost his kingdom and lives like an ascetic. There is no way he can come here and save you. Only I am suitable to be your husband. There is not a single person in the entire world who is my equal. Be mine, rule this vast kingdom with me, and enjoy life in Lanka." Sita was sobbing. Ravan commented, "Oh, you lovely one, this soft and pretty face does not look good with tears." Sita tried to look away. He continued, "Here, I bow my head at your charming feet. My dear, I have never done this for any other woman. Accept me, and I will ever remain your servant." And then Ravan thought to himself, "Mama Iyam, now she is mine." Little did he know what was coming. Sita says, "Ram is my husband, and I worship him. I am confident that he will get me out of here. If you had tried to abduct me in his presence, you would be lying dead right now, like Khar." Ram will come with Lakshman for sure. His arrows will knock all his pride and arrogance out of you. You will die, and your kingdom will be destroyed. But Sita also recognized the reality of her situation. If she refused Ravan's proposal, he could just force himself on her. And so she told him, Idam shariram nissauntnyam bandhava ghatayasvava. This body has no consciousness. You can restrain it or kill it. Even I don't have any interest in this body. It is not me. And you can never have me. You can never touch me. And this was Sita's incredible strength. For all his immense physical power, Ravan could not bend her will. After that rebuke, Ravan stops his suitor on bended knee act. Contrary to what he had instructed before, he now tells the attendants, take her away to the Ashok garden. Tame this wild elephant. Torment her and then play nice. Break her. And to Sita, he gives this dire warning. My dear princess of Mithila, listen to me. I give you 12 months. Come to me willingly. Accept my hand. Or else, tatastvam pratarashartham sudash chetyanti leshashah. The cooks will chop you up into pieces for my breakfast. Iti, her, asa. That is how it happened.
Months go by. Sita is held captive in the Ashokvan. Ravan and the Rakshasis keep trying to break her. The way Sita conducts herself shows her incredible courage and resilience, and her unshakable values. Watch now what happened one morning as the sun came up in Lanka.
In the royal palace, Ravan woke up to the sound of soft music. And he thought of Sita. He was obsessed with her. He got dressed and went to see her. Many of the women that had given him company the previous night went along. Some of them held a parasol over his head. Some fanned him, and others carried pitchers of water and wine. Looks like no time was too early for this bunch. Their hair and ornaments were in disarray. Ghurnantyo madasheshena nidraya cha shubhananah. The beautiful ladies were still drunk and sleepy and were swaying from side to side. Ravan was also drunk on alcohol, arrogance, and passion. Kamadarpa madairyuktam. Sita saw him coming and started shaking with fear. She sat crouched on the ground, hugging her knees, crying. Note, Sita had rejected outright Ravan's proposal the day he brought her to Lanka. And Ravan had called her a wild elephant that needed to be tamed. He had instructed the guards to torment her and break her down. Since that day, for 10 long months, Sita had endured constant deprivation and mental torture. Now Ravan came up to her and said, "Oh Sita, why do you keep me away like this? I am hopelessly in love with you. You are so beautiful. Who would not lose his mind upon seeing you? Please accept my hand." Sita looked like she was trying to make herself invisible. But there was no getting away from Ravan's gaze. Consumed by passion, blatantly lingering on every part of her body. Ravan continued, "I think the creator of the world took retirement after he made you. You are so perfect. It is not possible to make another woman as beautiful as you. Oh, you lovely one, be mine, and I will lay down the world at your feet. You will be the queen of Lanka, the chief among all my wives. Why do you still think of Ram? He is nothing compared to me, whether you look at his wealth or valor. There is no way he can get you out of here. I am not even sure if he is alive anymore. Think about it. Sita has no idea whether Ram and Lakshman know what has happened to her. They were away from the cottage when Ravan kidnapped her. And even if they knew, how would they rescue her from this impregnable city in the middle of the sea? And Ravan was offering her a life of utmost comfort and luxury as the queen of Lanka. All she had to do was say yes to him. Sita placed a blade of grass in between her and Ravan. He was not even going to get a look from her. Addressing the blade, she told Ravan gently but firmly, "Stop thinking of me. I am devoted to my husband. What you are doing is wrong in every way. You are the king. You ought to set an example. Be with your wives and take care of them. Shakya lobhayitum naham aishwaryena dhanena va ananya raghavenaham bhaskarena yatha prabha. You cannot lure me with your wealth. I am inseparable from Ram, like light from the sun. You should apologize to Ram, bury the hatchet, and seek his protection." Sita was willing to forgive Ravan despite what he had done, and she was also sure Ram would do the same. But she was also confident about what Ram would do if Ravan did not let her go. She told him sternly, "I am telling you what is good for you. If you don't let me go, Ram will surely find you and kill you. Your people will also get killed, and your fabulous city of Lanka destroyed, all because of your mistake. If you are so strong and brave, why did you have to trick Ram and Lakshman away from the hut in Panchavati? Why did you not fight them? You cannot face them, just as a dog cannot stand up to two tigers. Shakyam sandarshane sthatum shuna shardulayoreva." Ravan replied menacingly, "I am being nice to you, and you are insulting me. You ought to be put to death right now. But I am holding back my anger because I am in love with you. Tvau masau rakshitavyau me yo vadhiste maya kritah tatashyayanamaroha mamatvam varavarnini." As per the deadline I had fixed before, you have 2 more months. Oh pretty one, climb into my bed, or else I will send you off to the kitchen to be chopped up and cooked for my breakfast. Sita fired back, "You wretch! How come your tongue that says such things does not fall out of your mouth? Your end is certain. Ram will come and his arrows will knock the life out of you. You don't stand a chance against him. He is powerful like an elephant, and you are a rabbit." This was Sita's incredible power. Months of torment and suffering could not break her. No temptation could lure her. Ravan could not break her will, nor shake her confidence in Ram. Ravan, his eyes rolling with anger, hissed, "Sita, I will destroy you." And he raised his right fist to punch Sita. Mushtimudyamya dakshinam maithilim hantumarabdha. But a Rakshasi quickly came forward to defuse the situation. She embraced Ravan and said, "Why are you after that wretched Sita? Come with me. Let's have some fun." And she drew him away. Ravan went back to his palace, laughing heartily with his many women, and leaving behind a trembling Sita. Pravepamanam dharmaparam avasthitam. Trembling but steadfast on the path of dharma. Iti her asa. That is how it happened.
Many times, in images depicting Sita in the Ashokvan, her condition is shown somewhat mildly. But Valmiki's words reveal a much harsher reality. She was a captive after all. Her condition was terrible. She was wearing old and dirty clothes. Her body was pale, thin, and covered with dust. She hardly slept. The only thing that kept her going was thinking of Ram. Do keep this in mind as we see now how the Rakshasis were trying to break her.
As soon as Ravan left Ashokvan, the Rakshasis got on to the job he had given them. They first tried to convince Sita that saying yes to Ravan was the sensible thing to do. "You are so fortunate that Ravan is interested in you. You must accept his proposal. And he favors you over all his wives. What a privilege! All the comforts of Ravan's palace await you. Why do you say no to such a great and mighty suitor? What is wrong with you?" But Sita told them clearly, "What you are saying is wrong in every way. Ram may have lost his kingdom and all his wealth, but he is my husband, and I will always be with him." One of the captors fired back impatiently, "Site, paryaptametavad bhartus snehah pradarshitah." Sita, enough of this showing love for your husband. You need to understand that Ravan has captured you and brought you to this island. You cannot escape, and no one is going to come for you. The Rakshasis tried to threaten and intimidate Sita into submission. "Accept the king's offer, now, or else I will pluck your heart out and eat it," said one angrily. The others joined in, wielding their axes and saying things like, "Should we squeeze her neck first? I can't wait to kill her. I have had this morbid desire to eat her from the day I saw her. Ladies, we must cut her up into equal pieces to avoid disputes. Surachaniyatam kshipram. Let's get the drinks quickly. We will eat human flesh and drink and dance." Sita was trembling and sobbing pitifully. But her answer was unchanged. "Eat me up for all I care. Chinna bhinna prabhinna va deepta vagnau pradipita. Cut me, break me into pieces, or burn me in a glowing fire. I will not accept Ravan. I will not even touch him with my foot. Why doesn't he get it? My answer is no." Sita became increasingly disoriented and half-crazed with grief. Her thoughts started swinging wildly between hope and despair. Head bent down, she said, "Ram defeated 14,000 Rakshasas in Janasthan. He can surely kill Ravan in a battle. Why doesn't he come and save me? If only he knew that I was being held in Lanka, he would have dried up the ocean, burned down this city, and destroyed Ravan. Yes, I believe Ram and Lakshman will come soon. Lanka will be littered with the bodies of dead Rakshasas. But who will tell them that I am here? Jatayu could have informed them, but Ravan killed him. Na jana jivatim Ramaham. Ram may not even know that I am alive. Will I ever see Ram again? I cannot live without him. Just then, a Rakshasi called Trijata said to the rest of her group, "Do not harm Sita if you all know what's good for you. I had a dream in which I saw that Sita's husband had won a great war. The Rakshasas were finished and Lanka was crumbling into the sea. Instead of tormenting Sita, try and get into her good books." The Rakshasis backed off a little. But this respite was not enough for Sita. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that her situation was hopeless. And so she concluded, "I will end my life now itself. Anyway, I stand condemned to death, for I will never submit to Ravan's wishes." Committing suicide is not wrong in a situation like this. Naivasti nunam mama doshamatra. And then Sita decided that she would hang herself from a tree using her own long braid. Clutching the braid, she went up to a Shivshapa tree and grabbed a sturdy branch. But just then, once again, she felt a wave of hope. Perhaps things would change for the better. And her hope was not misplaced, for this was no ordinary tree. It was the same tree on which Hanuman was perched.
Hanuman had not yet spoken to Sita. He started thinking fast. This was his chance. But he had to be careful not to scare her. If he just jumped down from the tree and approached her, she might cry out in surprise. And that would alert the Rakshasis who were not too far. And so Hanuman thought it best to start the conversation in an indirect manner. He started speaking while still sitting on the tree, hidden. Sita was turned away, but could hear him. Hanuman said, "There was once a great king of the Ikshwaku dynasty called Dashrath, and his eldest son was Ram." And Hanuman went on to narrate Ram's story up till the point of Sita's abduction. Sita knew all this very well. But what she heard next was new to her. Hanuman continued, "While looking for Sita, Ram met Sugriv and made an alliance with him. Sugriv is the king of the Vanaras, and he has sent out thousands of Vanaras to look for Sita. I am one of them. I crossed the great ocean and came to Lanka searching for her. And now, Yatha Rupam, Yatha Varnam, Yatha Lakshmavatin Chatam, Ashrausham Ragavasyaham, Seyamasa Maya. I see here before me a lady who looks exactly like the Sita Ram had described. Yes, the very same form, the very same beauty, the very same radiance." And then Hanuman paused. Janaki chapita shrutva paramam vismayangata. Upon hearing all this, Sita was stunned. She had just learned that Ram was alive and well, that there were thousands of people looking for her, and one of them was right there, next to her. Sita turned and looked up. And through the branches, a Vanar looked back at her. This was all too much for Sita, and she just fainted.
As Sita regained her consciousness, she thought that what she had just heard was too good to be true. that Ram was alive and well, and that his messenger was right there beside her. Could this be a dream, she thought. No. How can I dream when I hardly ever sleep? Perhaps I am imagining things, for I think of Ram all the time, every single moment. Rameti Rameti Sadaiva Buddhya Vichintya Vacha Bruvati Tameva. Is it my longing for Ram that makes me hear these words? Hanuman then got down from the tree and approached her slowly. He asked respectfully, "O lady, who are you? Are you indeed the Sita that Ravan abducted from Janasthan?" Sita replied, "I am the daughter-in-law of the great King Dashrath, the foremost among all the kings in the world. I am the daughter of King Janak. My name is Sita. I am Ram's wife." Note how Sita introduced herself. Her high regard for Dashrath despite all that had happened. Hanuman was delighted to hear this and said, "I am Hanuman, Ram's messenger. Sita, Ram is well and he asks about your well-being. Lakshman also sends his regards." A wave of happiness swept through Sita. But again, she had a doubt. What if this Vanar was Ravan in disguise? Her heart told her it was not so, but she had to be sure. And so she said, "If you are indeed Ram's messenger, please tell me what you know about him." And then Hanuman starts telling Sita how he saw Ram. He speaks of Ram's qualities and virtues. Ram is supremely skilled in warfare and is also an expert on the Vedas. He is ever truthful, always upholding dharma and satya. He is soft-spoken, but shows anger towards those who deserve it. And Ram protects everyone, not just his own people. Sita was pleased to hear all this, but then asked Hanuman to describe Ram physically so that she could be sure that he had actually met him. And then Valmiki paints a vivid picture of Ram through Hanuman's words. Hanuman says, "Ram has gentle lotus-shaped eyes and a very handsome face. He has broad shoulders and long and powerful arms. His shoulder blades are not visible as they are covered with muscle, Gudha Jatruhu. His neck is shaped like a conch, a shankha. His voice is deep and resonant. As for Lakshman, he is just like Ram in many ways, except that he is fair-skinned, whereas Ram's complexion is dark." Hanuman then tells Sita how Ram thinks of her all the time and is desperate to see her. He is constantly burning with grief and worry. Your loss has shaken him like an earthquake shakes a mountain. And then Hanuman presented to Sita the ring that Ram had given him. Sita was overcome with joy. As she held the ring, she almost felt Ram's presence. She no longer had any doubt about Hanuman. She opened her heart out to him. After months of torture, finally, she had someone she could call her own. She first thanked Hanuman and appreciated all that he had done to find her. And then she said, "I am so glad to hear that Ram and Lakshman are okay. But I know the pain that Ram would be enduring. I know what losing me means to him. There is no one in this world that Ram loves more than me, not his mother, father, or anyone else. न चास्य माता न pita न chanyah snehad vishishtosти maya samova. But Sita was confident that Ram would overcome his grief. And Valmiki has conveyed Sita's confidence in an interesting way. Sita asks Hanuman a series of questions, each one beginning with Kachit, which means, is it true that? Or, I trust. I trust that Ram is not paralyzed with grief and that he is doing what needs to be done. I trust that he is rallying his friends and making new alliances. I trust that he recognizes that while there are some things beyond our control, the results of our past actions, there are still actions that we can and must take today. Kachit purushakarancha daivancha pratipadyate. O Hanuman, when will I see the destruction of this evil Ravan and all those who support him? Hanuman assured her, as soon as I go back and report that you are being held captive in Lanka, Ram will come here with a massive Vanar army. The Rakshasas will be finished. I promise you, you will soon be with Ram. Sita replied, I know Ram is well capable of defeating the Rakshasas. But if he does not get here within 2 months, it will be all over for me. Ravan will surely kill me. Hanuman then suggested that Sita could come with him right then. He would carry her across the ocean on his back. But Sita replied, I don't think that's a good idea. While you have the strength and the energy to cross the ocean, I do not. And if the Rakshasas see us getting away, they will surely attack us. How will you fight them while also carrying me? Sita also remarked that she still recoiled from the memory of Ravan's touch the day he had abducted her. And now she was reluctant to touch anyone except her husband. And finally, Sita also said, Ravan was too scared to fight Ram head-on, and that is why he tricked him away from the cottage and abducted me. But Ram need not act like that to rescue me. He should attack Lanka and slay Ravan. Think about it. All Sita wanted was to be with Ram. But even this had to happen in the right way. Ravan must be punished for what he had done. Ram must defeat him in battle. Like it was for Ram, for Sita too, the right thing to do was more important than what she wanted for herself. It was not just about her and Ram. As the prince and princess of Ayodhya, their actions had implications beyond themselves. Hanuman then asked Sita to give him something to prove that he had met her. Sita gave him one of her ornaments. And as further proof, she also told Hanuman about an incident that had happened in Chitrakoot. It was something no one other than the two of them, Ram and Sita, knew about. Hanuman finally asked her if there was any other message she wanted to send to Ram and Lakshman. Sita replied, Please tell Lakshman that I send my regards. He is a quiet one, but he is always there for Ram. He gave up everything to support Ram in his exile. Pitruvad vartate Rame, matruvan mam samacharat. He treats Ram like a father, and he treats me like a mother. I am sure he will come to my aid now. As Hanuman prepared to leave, Sita added tearfully, And tell Ram, I cannot hold on much longer. Please, save me from Ravan. Iti, her, asa. That is how it happened.
Note Sita's action-oriented nature. Yes, the situation can be terrible, but there is always something you can do about it. She had shown this earlier as well. Within moments of getting kidnapped, she had started thinking what clues to leave behind. And now she reminded Ram, Kachit Purushakarancha Daivancha Pratipadyate. While there are some things beyond our control, there are always actions that can and must be taken. Later, Hanuman came back to the northern seashore and reported to Angad and the other Vanars what had happened in Lanka. As he spoke about Sita, he turned in the direction of Lanka and bowed down to Sita. His meeting with her had created a deep impression on him. He had immense respect for her, for how she was conducting herself in captivity, with dignity, courage, and being absolutely uncompromising about her values. In Lanka, Hanuman had gone away. Sita was still in the Ashokvan as before. Time went by. One day, Ravan came to see her.
He told her cheerfully, "Your dear husband is dead. You kept refusing me because you thought Ram would come and save you. You fool! Chinnante sarvatha moolam darpascha nihato maya. I have cut off your roots and crushed your arrogance. How will Ram save you now? Be mine, and I will make you the chief among all my wives." Ravan went on, "Let me tell you how I killed Ram. He was coming to Lanka with the Vanaras to wage war. They had camped on the other side of the ocean after their long travel from Kishkindha. My forces under the command of Prahast went there and attacked them in the middle of the night. Atha suptasya ramasya prahastena pramathina asaktam kritahastena shiraschinnam mahasina. Ram was sleeping. Prahast's sword sliced through his neck without any problem. My soldiers then killed Sugriv, Angad and Hanuman. We butchered the Vanaras by the thousands. The rest of the Vanar army fled. Lakshman also ran away. I have brought Ram's blood-soaked head for you to see." Turning to the Rakshasis guarding Sita, Ravan ordered, "Go and ask Vidyutjivva to come here. He had got the head from the battlefield." Vidyutjivva came to the scene on cue, and Ravan told him, "Let poor Sita see what the end was like for her husband." The Rakshas threw the head at Sita's feet. Sita screamed and collapsed onto the ground. She cried bitterly. Looking at what she thought was Ram's head, she said, "How could this happen? O greatest among men! You had promised me on the day of our marriage that we would always be together. Now please take me with you. Kim ma na prekshase rajan, kim va na pratibhashase. Why are you not looking at me? Why won't you speak to me?" Turning to Ravan, Sita said, "Kill me too, just the way you killed Ram. Shirasa me shiraschasya, kayam kayena yojaya. Place my head next to his head, my body next to his body. I wish to go where he has gone." Sita was pained not only by the fact that Ram was no more, but also by how he had died. The greatest warrior in the world had been killed in his sleep, without a fight. She was also worried for Kausalya. How will she be able to bear Ram's loss? And Sita thought of Kaikeyi, who had finally got what she wanted. Sita was utterly crushed. But Ravan still could not get what he wanted, her consent. That was out of the question. The ploy had not worked. Just then, a messenger came and said to the Rakshas king, "O Aryaputra, there is some urgent matter. The ministers are waiting to see you. Please come quickly." And Ravan went off to meet his ministers, leaving behind a distraught Sita. A Rakshasi called Sarama had witnessed all this. She was one of the guards assigned to watch over Sita. But over time, the kind Sarama had become friendly towards Sita. Sarama told her, "This is just one of Ravan's tricks. Ram is well. Together with the Vanar Sena, he has already crossed the ocean. They will attack any time now. That is why Ravan rushed off from here. Listen carefully. You can hear the horses and the elephants, the rumbling of the chariots, and the soldiers getting ready for battle. Don't worry. You will soon be with Ram." Sarama then asked Sita, "Would you like to send any message to Ram? I can slip out of the city unnoticed and try and meet him." But surprisingly, Sita said, "If you want to do something for me, please find out what Ravan is discussing with his ministers. What is he planning to do?" Note how Sita was thinking, fast and practically, despite the shock she had just gone through. She had already conveyed her message to Ram through Hanuman. She felt it was now more important to understand what Ravan was up to.
Note once again how Sita was absolutely uncompromising about her values. Even when she thought that Ram was dead, that no one was going to save her, there was no chance of escape from Lanka, her answer to Ravan was no. That was out of the question. And then there was the great war between the Vanaras and the Rakshasas, between Ram and Ravan. And it ended with Ravan lying dead on the battlefield. Hanuman came to inform Sita that they had won the war. At that time, he wanted to punish the Rakshasis for how they had treated Sita. But Sita stopped him. She held nothing against them, for they had acted on Ravan's orders. She forgave them. And now, we shall come to two incidents that have shaped the modern narrative on Sita. But one of those incidents is grossly misunderstood, and the other simply didn't happen. Let's consider first the incident popularly known as Agni Pariksha, although a more suitable name would be Agni Pravesh.
Hanuman came back after meeting Sita and told Ram, "You fought this war for Sita's sake. Now you can meet her. She is longing to see you." Ram looked down and thought for a while. Surprisingly, his eyes filled up with tears. And then, drawing a deep breath, he said to Vibhishan, "Divyangaragam Vaidehim, Divya Bharana Bhushitam, Ihasitam Shirasnatam, Upasthapaya Machiram." Please go and get Sita quickly after she has had her bath and put on her jewelry.
That's a strange request.
Indeed. When Sita heard about this from Vibhishan, she replied, "I want to meet Ram right away. The bath can wait. Asnatva drashtumichhami." But Vibhishan advised that she should do what Ram had said. When Sita was ready, Vibhishan got a palanquin to take her to the battlefield. He then came up to Ram and announced, "Sita is here." Ram was lost for a moment in deep thought. He replied, "Please ask Sita to get down from the palanquin and walk up to me." By now, a crowd had built up. Vanaras and Rakshasas were curious to see what was going on. Vibhishan's guards were pushing them back. Ram told Vibhishan sternly, "Let them all stay. Let them look at Sita." Vibhishan was unsure what was going on, but he did what Ram asked of him. Sita got down from the palanquin and felt embarrassed at being the center of a spectacle. Lajjaya. As she walked up to Ram, her face reflected confusion, affection, and love. And then Ram and Sita looked at each other. Months of pain and longing were finally over. Their faces lit up with joy. But then, to everyone's astonishment, Ram said, "Viditaschastu bhadram te yoyam rana parishramah sutirna suhridam viryat natvadartham maya kritah." O lady, may you be well. You should know that this war that I fought and won with my friends' support was not for you. By abducting you, Ravan had insulted me. I had to avenge it. I fought this war for the glory of the Ikshvaku dynasty. But now, there is a doubt about your character. Prapta charitra sandeha. And I cannot even bear to look at you. Surely Ravan would have been attracted to someone as beautiful as you. What sort of a man would take back a woman who has spent time in someone else's house? You are free to go wherever and with whomever you wish to. You can think of Lakshman, Bharat or Shatrughna, or even Sugriv or Vibhishan. It means nothing to me.
I am shocked to hear that Ram said such things to Sita.
Yes, this is not the Ram we know. We saw how Ram suffered when Sita was abducted. Countless times we heard him say, "I cannot live for a moment without Sita. Yam vina notsahe muhurtamapi jivitum." She is dearer to me than life itself. All Ram wanted was to get Sita back safely. If he could be with Sita, he would not wish for anything else in the world, not even Ayodhya. Ram was not fighting for the glory of his dynasty. Never did he doubt Sita's character. And Ram's love for Sita was plainly visible to those around him. In Sundarakand, Hanuman had told Sita, "Ram thinks of you all the time and is desperate to see you. He is constantly burning with grief and worry. Your loss has shaken him like an earthquake shakes a mountain." Sita also knew how Ram felt about her. She had told Hanuman, "I know the pain that Ram would be enduring. I know what losing me means to him. There is no one in this world that Ram loves more than me." And so, Sita was shocked to hear what Ram had just said. Vaksharais sashalyeva bhrishamashruni avartayat. Pained by Ram's words that struck her like arrows, Sita started crying inconsolably. And she said to him, "What you just said is totally inappropriate. How come you're thinking like some ordinary man? I did not come here by choice. Ravan forcibly brought me. What is my fault? And my heart was always with you. After all our years together, if you still do not understand me, then I might as well be dead. Yadi te ham na vidnyata hata te nasmi shashvatam." In fact, when you sent Hanuman to meet me, you should have told me how you felt. I would have killed myself right then. You could have saved yourself from the trouble of fighting this war. Risking your life and risking your friends' lives was unnecessary. And then, turning to Lakshman, Sita said, Lakshman, I don't want to live with this baseless controversy regarding my character. I will now step into a blazing fire. Please prepare the fire. Lakshman was furious. He had no idea why Ram was doing all this. He looked at Ram angrily. And then Valmiki says, Savidnyaya manaschandam Ramasyakara suchitam. Ram made a gesture. Lakshman then understood Ram's intent, and he prepared the pyre. Ram had indicated to him, I know what I'm doing, just go along. Sita then said, if I am not at fault, if my character is spotless, if I have ever remained faithful to Ram in action, speech and thought, may the fire protect me. And Sita walked up to the fire. There was a roar among the crowd. The women screamed. And here, Valmiki takes a poetic turn in his narration. He says, as Sita jumped into the fire, Rishis, Devas and Gandharvas appeared on the scene. And so did Indra and Lord Brahma. And then the Devas and Agni, Lord of Fire, spoke to Ram. The Devas said, why are you behaving like an ordinary person? Why are you treating Sita like this? Please do not forget your greatness. Do not forget Sita's greatness. Agni, the Lord of Fire, then appeared from the blaze together with Sita. He said, O Ram, Sita has done nothing wrong. Ravan took her away by force. He threatened her and offered inducements. But she never thought of him for a moment. Her heart and mind were always with you. Nakinchida bidhatavya aham ajñapayamite. I command you, never again say such hurtful things to her. We should understand that through the voices of the Devas and Agni, Valmiki is telling us how the people reacted just as Sita was about to enter the fire. Ram replied, Aham api avagacchami maithilim. I know Sita very well. I know how much she loves me. She will never even think of anyone else. And I will never leave her. It is just not possible. Na vihatum maya shakya. We are inseparable, just as the sun's rays are inseparable from the sun itself. There is no question of her having a weak moment in Ravan's palace. She is not at fault in any way. But I know that some people would have doubted her, and so I had to hear all this from you. And with that, Ram and Sita were united once again.
I used to think that Ram doubted Sita, and that is why he asked Sita to step into the fire, to test her purity.
That is a common misconception. As we just saw, Ram's hurtful words to Sita were all an act. He did not blame her or doubt her. But he knew that people would. They would unfairly question, gossip, and cast aspersions on her character. And so, he carefully created this situation. By insisting that Sita wear her jewelry, he ensured that she entered the scene looking like a queen and not a destitute captive. He then made sure that the crowds were not pushed back so that they could hear what he said. And then he said to Sita what an ordinary person might have thought. The people spoke up in response and acknowledged that Sita had done nothing wrong. They recognized her greatness. This was precisely the outcome Ram wanted. He wanted the people not to have the slightest question about their soon-to-be queen. Valmiki's narration is clear. Ram did not ask Sita to step into the fire. Never did he think that Sita needed to be purified by such an act, as if something was wrong with her, polluted. If anything was polluted, it was the people's mindset, a mindset that questions and doubts the victim. And Ram wanted to make sure that the people saw the error in that. How ironic that we falsely accuse Ram of having a mindset that he was in fact speaking up against. Iti ha asa. That is how it happened.
The common misunderstanding of the Agni Pravesh incident is not only unfair to Ram, but is unfair to Sita as well. We do injustice to her, thinking of her only as a victim, as someone who was wronged, and we forget what it is that made her great. The Agni Pravesh is not the defining incident of Sita's life in the Valmiki Ramayan. The defining moments that bring out Sita's greatness are how she chose to go with Ram into exile, and later how she stood up to Ravan. And so, how does it all end? Valmiki's Itihas ends with the coronation in Ayodhya after the war. And so, the incident of Ram banishing Sita because of something that a washerman said, Love and Kush grabbing Ram's Ashwamedh horses, Ram asking Sita to prove her innocence, Sita refusing to do that and instead entering Mother Earth. All these are not a part of Valmiki's Itihas. For a more detailed discussion on this, do watch the videos on the Uttarakand mentioned in the description below. The end of the Yuddhakand, the book of war, is as follows. After they returned to Ayodhya, the coronation was conducted the very next day. After the coronation, Vibhishan went back to Lanka, Sugriv and the Vanaras went back to Kishkindha. And thus began the glorious reign of King Ram. Ram ruled for many, many years. People lived long and healthy lives. They lived in harmony with each other and with nature. Everyone was happy and all was well in the land. Sarvam muditamevasit. And that is the end of the Valmiki Ramayan. Now let's come back to the question, who was Sita? Obviously, viewing Sita as a victim is totally incorrect. But is calling her an ideal woman also unfairly narrow? Facing adversity without breaking is not just a woman's ideal, it is a human ideal. Do consider this as well as we recap what Maharshi Valmiki has told us about Sita. Sita was Dharmajna and Dharmacharini. She knew Dharma, the right thing to do, and always followed it. She was totally committed to it. She chose the right path, even when the cost was high. Sita shows what it means to love someone, to be a life partner, always supporting each other, always being there for each other, in every situation. Life in the forest was difficult, no doubt. But think about it, what a change this was for a princess who had only known palace life till then, first in Mithila and then in Ayodhya. But Sita adjusted well. She accepted what had happened and moved on. Truly, material possessions did not matter to her. Heaven was where she was with Ram, and hell being without him. Sita loved Ram and was totally devoted to him. But she was not shy of speaking her mind when she disagreed with him. When Ravan kidnapped Sita, she overcame her shock and told him off in the strongest of words. And then she quickly started thinking about what clues to leave behind. In Lanka, Sita showed incredible courage and resilience. She maintained her dignity even in the face of extreme aggression. And she remained true to her values. Ravan could not break her. He could not lure her. He could not shake her confidence in Ram. Valmiki's Sita is an icon of courage, resilience, and love. And she shows what it means to have the strength of character. No wonder Hanuman had said, Rajyam va trishu lokeshu, Sita va janakatmaja, Trailokya rajyam sakalam, Sitaya napnuyat kalam. If sovereignty, lordship over the three worlds were on one side of the scale and Sita on the other, the scale would surely tip on Sita's side. Iti her asa. That is how it happened.